If you previously used the Audience Insights tool in Facebook Ads Manager, you may have noticed that it's no longer available. You may have also realized that some of your cold traffic audiences are no longer performing in the same way they used to. Or you might just be looking for new and improved ways to target a cold audience with your Facebook ads, Instagram ads, or other types of ad platforms. In this video, I'm going to walk you through all of the considerations you may want to think about when creating these new cold traffic audiences, and also the specific tactical steps of how to set them up. If you stick around to the end, I'm going to show you how you can be more intentional about your testing, how to structure that testing campaign to make sure that we can still get the most bang for our buck, we can find those winning audiences, and we can continue to use these ads to grow our businesses. With the changes that have taken place after iOS 14, there are certain audiences that are no longer going to perform the way they used to. Many of these are going to be interest-based audiences and behavioral audiences. We've really got to get creative in the way that we think about our audiences. The first thing I'd ask you to think about is, what industry are you in? Who is the typical consumer for this type of product and service? Most of the time, you will be able to find really solid demographic data on gender, on age, on location. The next thing you want to consider is this a product or service that people have a long-term need for, or is this a quick, immediate need that they need filled? The next thing I would ask is, what are the interests that my audience may have that would be tracked on the platform? We know that billions of people are using Facebook, they're using Instagram, they're using other platforms owned by the same company, and that activity is still being tracked. Things that they're posting about, things on their profile, pages that they like, things that they're commenting, all of those things are attributed to that person to compile what their interests are, what their demographics are, and the types of products and services they may be interested in. This is easier for some businesses and industries than others. So for example, if I am in the beauty industry, I sell makeup, there are a lot of pages on Facebook that discuss them. That gives Facebook firsthand data on what someone is interested in. Now let's look at another example. If I'm selling socks, how often are people really engaging with posts or pages? They may love socks, but they are not telling the world or engaging with pages related to that. So if you are in an industry that has really solid firsthand data, those audiences may not be impacted at all. If you are in one of those alternative industries, this is going to be really, really, really important for you. The first thing we're going to do is log into Facebook Business Manager, and we're going to navigate using the left-hand toolbar to our Audiences tab. We're going to create some more broad, single interest based audiences. If you took those initial steps that I talked about at the beginning of this video, you know this is a very common interest that purchases of your product and service are going to have. So I'm going to go ahead and click Create Audience. We're going to be looking for a saved audience this time. Select people living in this location. The next option is going to be, what location are you actually looking for? What I want you to think about is the largest potential audience size. So you may think that 10 miles around your location is the only pool of customers you have, but let's expand that a little bit. Go 25 miles, maybe more. You might think that certain states are going to primarily be your audience, but let's go the entire United States. So we want to make this a little bit more broad, so we have more people in these audiences and more opportunity to find some of these winning audiences for your cold traffic. So I'm going to type in United States for this example. And for age and gender, I'm also going to get specific here. The example that I'm using would be a belt company. This belt company sells college sports team patterned belts. They also have other patterns that are not college sports that are great for people who maybe go to the country club or maybe are into horses, people who like to dress up and have a little bit of fashion flair. So that is their primary audience. So we're seeing heavier concentration of women. We're also seeing a much greater concentration of people about 30 to 60. So this will be my first of 4. I'm going to select age 28 to age 40. We're just going to go with women on this one. For detailed targeting, this is where I'd be able to select a lot of different options. Sometimes people are selecting hundreds of different interests and putting them in a single audience. That is not what we want to do here. If any given audience is winning, we really want to know why it's winning. Is it because of that one interest? Is it because of the age range? Is it because of the gender? So in this one specifically, I am just going to type in college basketball. It's not the focus of what they sell. They're a belt company, but they sell products to people who love college football and college basketball. Those are the specific interests we're going to start with. This will be called females 28 through 40 college sports, and hit create saved audience. And I'm going to click the little checkbox next to that audience that I just created. And then I'm going to select edit. It's going to bring up the exact same audience that we just set up. But now we're going to be making one significant change. I'm going to change the age range. So I'm going to set this from 41 to 65, and I'm going to create a new audience from this. When you do that, it's going to pull up a dialog box with the audience name, and we simply want to edit this name to reflect that change we've just made. Then I'm going to hit save. The next step is to repeat that one more time. I'm going to take that 28 through 40 audience, click edit. I'm going to leave all the other settings the same. So in this case, I'm going to type in golf, save as new, change the name. Instead of the word college sports in this audience, I'm simply going to change it to say golf. And we'll repeat that once more, changing the golf audience to 41 through 65. So now we have 4 saved audiences. The first custom audience that we're going to create is based off of your paying customers. Let's go ahead and click on the create audience button at the top left, and we are going to create a custom audience. We then select customer list. The more data that you have in the file you're going to upload will give you a higher likelihood of Facebook matching those users with a Facebook or Instagram profile. They then can see all of these different characteristics based on the other data they have, which will make it much easier for them to find other people who look similar to their demographics or their interest or those other attributes that you're searching for. It now gives you a couple of different options. There is a button to import directly from MailChimp. So if you have MailChimp, this could be a very easy option for you. You can download a file template, but ultimately, as long as your file is in a CSV format and has headers at the top with the information in separate columns, you should be able to upload this without a problem. So I'm just going to click the next button and continue. It's now going to ask you if you have a customer value. That's actually going to tell Facebook who are the customers that have spent the most with you, who are your best customers. They're actually going to seek out more of those type of people. I do not have that data in this file, so I'm going to click no. We now have the opportunity to simply drag and drop our list, and I'm just going to name this accurately so I know which audience this is moving forward. The first thing you want to do is confirm that those mapped values were mapped correctly by Facebook. Then I have action needed. So I've got a contact ID. That doesn't necessarily mean anything to Facebook. I do have first name, which I will map to first name. I've got last name, which I'll map to last name. I have a business name, but that's not an option to upload, so I will not map that. And then I have several other things that are specific to my business. So right now, I only have 4 different fields. That is enough to create this audience. So I'm going to go ahead and click import and create, and it's going to upload this list for me. And just like that, it's already created the audience and is giving me the option right here under next steps to create a lookalike audience. I'll go ahead and click that button, and now I'm simply going to select my audience location. So we're just going to do United States, and then below that it says select audience size. We have a 0 to 1%. A 1% is going to be the people who are most similar to this list. So we're going to go ahead and create that one, and now we're going to create another custom audience to use in this campaign. Ideally, this second audience would be another customer list audience. And what you would select is one step down from paying customers, whatever that looks like for you. For me, it would be scheduled calls. For an e-commerce business, it could be add to cart or initiate checkout. But let's say you don't have a list like that. You might be just getting started. What's the other alternative for you? So I would say that website activity and website traffic is usually going to be the best quality. However, if you've built an engaged social media presence, you might consider that as an alternative. So we're simply looking for the group of people who you believe to be the most interested in your product and service, or the most engaged with you in general. That's going to help Facebook create this more qualified lookalike. So because we already went through the customer list lookalike steps, we're simply going to select website as the source, and then we are going to select our pixel. I'm going to go ahead and select visitors by time spent. So it's asking me for the percentile. I want 5%. Now I have retention. How long of a time period are we looking? 180 days is the maximum that you can use for website audiences. So we're going to call this audience top 5% of web traffic and click create audience. Just as it did last time, it's now prompting us right away to select create a lookalike audience. I'm also going to start with that 1% lookalike. I'm also going to select again the region or the country or sometimes the continent in which I'm going to be looking for similar people overall. Now that we've created our 2 initial lookalike audiences, I'm going to show you one really underused type of lookalike audience that you can create for your 2 additional audiences for this campaign. So I'm going to go back in and click create audience, custom audience. I'll select my customer list. We're going to go back through those exact same steps that we originally did. You should arrive back at the screen where we're selecting our location and our percentage for that lookalike audience. This time, instead of that 1% default lookalike audience, we're actually going to move that to 2%. We're going to repeat that same exact step for each of our lookalike audiences that we created. So what that's going to look like when you're done with them is a 1% lookalike audience, a 0 to 2% lookalike, a 0 to 3% lookalike, and a 0 to 4% lookalike. Once we've got that set up, we're gonna create what we call a super lookalike audience. And that's where I'm gonna combine all 4 of them into one single audience. So I'm gonna click create audience. This is a saved audience, and we are gonna call it super lookalike customer list. I'm now going to select people living in this location again and the United States. And then I'm going to click on custom audiences. And when I click on that, I will see a tab that says lookalike audience. I'm now going to select the 1%, 2%, 3%, and 4%, all for the same source, which in this case would be the customer list. We're just going to leave the age as it is. We'll leave it for males and females, and we're going to click create saved audience. We're then going to repeat that exact same series of steps for that second lookalike audience that we created. So you're going to end up with the following audiences: your 1% lookalike from your customer list, your 1% lookalike from another list or maybe another source, a super lookalike for your customer list, and a super lookalike for your other custom audience. Then you're going to have 4 variations of your cold, broad, interest-based, or demographic-based targeting. We've now got 8 audiences for cold traffic that we are going to be testing in our CBO campaign. Let's go ahead, dive in so you can get to testing. I'm going to go ahead and click create campaign, and this is going to be focused on conversions. I'm going to give it a name, and then I'm going to click continue. It's going to bring me to my campaign creation screen. The first thing that I'm going to do is make sure that I have campaign budget optimization turned on. I want my budget to be as high as I can possibly make it because I've got 8 different audiences that I'm testing here. So we want to make sure that every single audience gets enough potential budget to succeed. So I'm going to select $500 per day for this specific campaign. We are then going to go to the very first ad set. We're going to select our pixel and our event that we're optimizing for in this case. Then under the budget and schedule section, we need to select a daily minimum budget. So in order to do that, we're going to have to click on the show more options. Then we'll click edit and checkbox the ad set spend limits. We want to select a daily minimum because with this type of campaign, the budget is set at the campaign level, $500 a day in this example. That $500 is going to be split between these 8 different ad sets. Facebook's deciding where that budget goes. Some ad sets could get $100 a day, some could get $5 a day. We want to make sure that this test is consistent, so So I'm gonna set a $25 a day minimum, and then I'm gonna go ahead and select my first audience. We've already created it, so I'm gonna select it from that drop down. I am gonna start with females 28 through 40 golf. Once I've done that, I'm going to publish that. I'm going to hit duplicate, and then I'm simply going to change the name of this ad set to reflect the new audience that I'm doing. This is gonna be females 41 through 65 with the golf interest. And then I'm gonna scroll down and simply select that audience. I'm then gonna repeat that exact same step 2 more times. So just to recap, we have one CBO campaign set at $500 a day. You're gonna have 8 total ad sets with 8 different audiences, and they're all going to have a $25 minimum daily budget set. So we have 4 interest-based audiences. We have 4 lookalike based audiences that were created off of your most qualified leads or customers. If you use this campaign and let it run for 5 to 7 days, trust me, you will be shocked to see which audiences outperform the others, and that will become the basis for your new cold traffic targeting strategy. If you want to learn more about how to optimize your Facebook ads for more sales, more calls, and more revenue, check out more videos in this playlist or click on the video on the screen that I'm sure you're going to love.